2023 of HEDRA. At this time, we're on item B, 4B, resolution number 2023-03, approving purchase and acquisition of property IDs 19-32150-28-087, 19-32150-28-086, and 19-3215028-080. Eric, would you like to proceed?
Sure. Thank you, President Horsch. It's before HEDRA this evening is a resolution authorizing the purchase of property generally located at 418 Vermilion Street, commonly referred to as Dick's Barber Shop. It includes 3 PIDs, primary one being the one that, of course, has the building on it. Secondary property that currently is just a grass lot fronting on Vermilion Street. Then a small parking pad that also is included and owned by the current owner, 1213 Properties, LLC. Through negotiations with staff and the current owner, in order to make a deal work while still respecting the cash availability of HEDRA, we struck a purchase price of $350,000. However, HEDRA would lease back the property to the current owner for a period of 2 years. That way they would be able to derive some income off that property in the meantime, and that would help us bridge the gap between what felt HEDRA was comfortable with paying as opposed to what the current property owner thought the valuation was based on. We did take a look at that valuation, made sure that was a fair valuation. In fact, it was. So we are comfortable with that proposed plan. Specific details within that leaseback property, the seller would be responsible for all taxes, utilities, interior and exterior maintenance, subtenants, contracts. They manage the property in its entirety. It is not up to HEDRA to essentially manage. If the furnace goes out, it is not HEDRA's responsibility during that 2-year leaseback period. Any leases are required to be in a month-to-month form if they're not already. If they are extended, they must extend at a month-to-month basis. The first floor commercial space, if that should become vacant during that 2-year leaseback period, HEDRA would have the first right to lease that space at a rate of $850 a month. Similarly, if at any time after that first 12 months of that leaseback, HEDRA could lease that or break the lease essentially by paying the seller that $38.20 per month remaining in the lease. So if it was 12 months, that $38.20 times 12 to essentially buy out the remainder of that lease. So with that, we're looking for HEDRA feedback on the proposed resolution. Any questions I can certainly answer. Otherwise, we'd look for HEDRA action on the resolution, which has been presented and provided on the DS for you this evening. Thank you.
Any questions? And I assume part of the lease back will be too that they maintain all property insurance, and we're covered by that.
Yeah, President Horsch, they would be required to maintain everything that was listed in there, insurance. They'd be the ones on the hook, such if something were to occur. Also, I should add, HEDRA would lease the space back to them at a rate of $1 a year was the agreement.
Any questions?
President Horsch, thank
Yes.
you. This is totally exactly what we talked about, and thank you for outlining some of our concerns and going back and agreeing with the way that we as a commission would like to see this block treated. So thank you for moving forward with that, and I would make a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, Commissioner Fox. Thank you. Commissioner Fox, seconded by Commissioner Carter. We have a motion on the table to approve resolution number 2023-03. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks. Thanks for your work on this, John and Eric. I know, this is a big piece of what we want to accomplish, and I know you both spent quite a bit of time going back and forth, and I think this is a really significant step to that, and it's a good deal for everybody. Thanks. All right. Reports and information.
New information here. Well, there's a few things going on around town right now on development side. I'll provide a few updates and nuggets here. I think the most important one here, which is not really listed within the information, is what's really happening at the confluence. I was in there 2 weeks ago for the encapsulation visit, and when you're going through HVAC installation and plumbing, it's a slow, arduous process, and you don't see a lot of day-to-day improvements. And so I pondered, should I go back there again? And I was just there 2 weeks ago. I said, yeah, I'm going to go down there. And there's a lot of changes going on within there right now. They've done with the HVAC. They're moving into sheetrocking, putting up walls, putting up kitchen equipment. They have a finished hotel room in the building right now so they can show people what's going on right now. So I expect that their website's going to have updates showing these items. There's substantial progress being made right now. I'm not saying there wasn't before, but boy, you can really see the differences from a day-to-day basis right now. Talking to the general down there, they've got 90 people on site daily making things happen, so they are really going to town on things, and it's going to be interesting to see the progression of changes that'll be coming in just a short period amount of time. So that was a great positive thing for me to see down there at the building.
I like the pretty stage. On HGTV, I can kind of fast forward through 3/4 to get to the pretty stage.
It is.
So it's good to see that. I ask this all the time, do we have like any time frame for opening dates yet, or is that still fungy?
Officially, they're still shooting for the end of May, which is fast approaching us. I don't know if they'll make that or not, but that's still what I'm hearing from them. They are making great progress down there, and I'm very hopeful they can make that. I guess that's about the end of what I know there. So that's what's happening at the Confluence. BME Thai is finally open, which is great. And it's been well received from what I hear in the community and from talking to the owner as well. He's been dealing with a little bit of some challenges with the growth and the customer level. So I said, good problems to have. They said, oh yeah. So that is good news. Walden at Hastings, which is the annexation project in the south end of town. We've had a couple of meetings since your last HEDRA meeting, went to Planning Commission, and we went to City Council earlier this week on the project to consider the annexation. Council tabled it at that time. They're going to discuss that again in 2 weeks, look at the action of annexing it in, which is essentially taking the city limits and extending them. There's no other approvals granted beyond that for the specific land use or density. So I've had a general discussion with the Planning Commission and with the City Council pertaining to their comfort level for this type and density of development. And so we're proceeding along in that manner. And there'll be a number of other steps that'll be taking place, traffic studies, environmental assessments, and other land use approvals that would proceed through 2023, provided the council grants that annexation. So that continues to move forward on the Walden development there. And opportunities with the Walden development when various land use aspects come forward, they'll be prefaced by public hearings, and so the public will continue to have an opportunity to know what's going on, an opportunity to speak to it. On our apartment projects, lots of cool things going up right now. We've got the NGS Stencil development, Lake Isabel Flats. That's 2 to 3 stories downtown right now, which is great. And then Current 33 over by Coburn's is on the 2nd story, so those are going well. The other apartment project, senior apartment project at County Road 47, our building official is going to be visiting the plant in the next couple of days to do some final inspections of the modular units that are going to be brought down here for installation. So that should be occurring here in the near future. So those are probably the biggest updates that I have here in news, and stand for any questions on anything else on the development side.
Anybody have questions? Okay, thank
I guess
you.
the other piece of information I have from the development side, which is actually wonderful news for Mr. Moss here, well-deserved. He, as we all know, Eric Moss is leaving us. This is his last meeting. Tomorrow is his last day to move on to be planning director for the city of Chanhassen. And as I've shared with many of you, and I've shared with Eric, I couldn't be more prouder of the situation in which he's moving himself into. It's a well-deserved position. He has worked so hard, and he has achieved so much in 2.5 years here than I ever could have imagined. It's interesting tonight that we have Dennis Piney, who formerly sat on HEDRA and who was in the interview panel when we hired Eric a couple of years ago. And I think I'm trying to remember Dennis's exact words, but it was something like, after Eric had finished with the interview, run after him. And he was very right on that one. And as I've told Eric before, he gave the best answer during his job interview that I think I've ever had. And that was, what are you going to do in your first 90 days? And he said, I'm going to buy a new pair of shoes. Kind of quizzically, because I'm going to wear mine out. And he has spent hundreds of visits through downtown and throughout the city. He has done just a tremendous job of meeting with businesses and knowing businesses and bringing the interests of businesses back by establishing great programs here, like our facade improvement grant program, the Restaurant Week program, taking these rinky-dink, what do we call them? The parklets, thank you, that we did up for an emergency purpose to really look something that we can be really proud of, and it's something that really being used by the city. So lots of great things that Eric has done. Wish him the very best in the future here. So just wanted to recognize that to the board tonight, and how happy I am for Eric, how happy and blessed we are of all the work that he's been able to contribute to the city. So that's what I have to say.
Well, I'm going to say something because when I came on, I've always been here with you, and I'm spoiled. I mean, truly, I'm spoiled. I think this is just how it goes, that we get young, bright talent that has great ideas and then has the fortitude to carry them through. And I would say, too, Eric, when I go on those business meetings with you, I mean, people just like you. I mean, you're just a nice guy, and you listen really well, and you respond really well. So I can't imagine that your future is going to be anything but bright. So thank you for teaching me a lot, and, like I said, I'm spoiled, so I'm sorry to see you go, personally.
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for you. Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, for sure.
It's your turn.
Okay, if I could, yeah, I would just like to say thank you, every one of you, and of course Dennis as well, as a former HEDRA president. The honor's been all mine. I had no idea when I came across that bridge all that I would get to do in the last 2.5 years. And that's only made possible because of all of your willingness to try new things, to fund new things, from makers markets that cost a few bucks in Facebook marketing to, frankly, hundreds of thousands of dollars in redevelopment funds to see a big idea through. Those aren't easy decisions, but they're appreciated ones. And for individuals in the role that John and I are in, we frankly couldn't ask for anything more from our elected and our appointed officials. So thank you. I certainly will not be a stranger. I very much enjoyed my time with the city of Hastings. It was not an easy decision, but rather one that was right for my career and an opportunity to grow in that director role. But certainly not a community I will soon forget, and certainly one that I will visit often. So thank you all.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're adjourned.